Can you imagine your life where money is your friend, working with you to achieve all your dreams and desires? If you struggle seeing money as your friend, then join Kathy Cook Noble, financial advisor and educator on understanding how your money can work for you. It is possible. Now, here is Financially Speaking with Kathy Cook Noble.
Good afternoon and welcome to Financially Speaking. I am Kathy Cook Noble and you're listening to the Inspired Choices Network. And we are taking the fear out of finance. We help people understand what it means in plain day, everyday, common language that we can all understand, because the reality is we really can't all understand our own finances, and that's the whole purpose of our show here on Financially Speaking. And what we do is we just want people to be comfortable with what their stuff is, whatever that stuff is, whether it's one house, 6 houses, a boat, no boat, 2 cars, 1 car, it doesn't matter. Whatever your stuff is, let's make sure that you understand it and are comfortable with it. So always feel free to call in or join us in the chat room, which is at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, or you can call in both from our American and Canadian side. We're happy to talk to you, that is for sure. Tonight we have a bonus, actually, because we have a guest that has come back to see us. We had to do it in 2 parts because she's just got so much knowledge and so much experience. We really couldn't do it in one show. So we are blessed to have with us once again Katina Kritikos, and she is a skincare expert and a salon owner and a veteran, experienced leader in her industry, that is for sure, and has been for many, many years. From a very young age, Katina knew that one of her sacred gifts was the gift of service. She had the unique ability in understanding and empathizing with those around her. Her love of creating beauty for others and healing not only their bodies, but their spirit and soul manifested at an early age. During her teens, she developed severe cystic acne, and at age 14, her family doctor prescribed a series of antibiotics to treat her skin. She knew she was not sick, but the antibiotics made her sick. She started to read everything she could about acne, and beautiful skin has been Katina's passion and mission ever since. Katina knows more than anybody about the cost of beautiful skin, and the cost not necessarily in the sense of what it costs to have it, but the cost of what it is to not have beautiful skin. And with the wedding season upon us, we are going to talk to Katina tonight and get her wisdom on what we do to get wedding season ready, because that doesn't happen overnight, I'm guessing, and we're going to learn more. We're going to talk to her about how to protect ourselves for the summer with the heat and the change in weather. So there's so much more to cover with Katina. And we'll talk to her also again a little bit about acne, because we started talking about teen acne a couple of weeks ago when we had her on, and we will continue that conversation as well. So Katina, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here.
Hey, thanks. Thanks to be back. I appreciate it. I love, this is my passion, and I so love talking about it. So thank you again.
We're so happy to have you. I know this is your round 2, because there's just so much in your head that we could not get out in one show. Maybe just reintroduce yourself in case we have new listeners that even didn't have a chance to meet you last time you were on. So just give us a little bit of a history of who you are and where you come from and how you got to where you are in a few minutes or less.
Okay. All right. I think a few weeks to do that, but let's start with the basics. I've been in the skincare industry for well over 27 years, probably even longer if you add my passion for the body work, for healing work, energy work, and even my own skincare battles. I probably started when I was 14 in my, with my concerns and figuring out an alternatives for my skin. And so in the industry, at least 27 years that have been professional years. Prior to that, many, many years before that, just as a novice and a student of the aesthetic world. So my passion, I fell into like the beauty industry at such a young age, and really wanted people to shine and to grow and expand and bring their confidence out. That was the big thing, because I know as a young, impressionable girl, I I was made fun of, and, but I was lucky I could hide it with makeup, whereas so many young boys can't, and so many, young girls can't. So for me, skincare has been a passion since I was little. To help people really overcome it is also a passion of mine. So I started my first business, I think I was 27, and left kind of a corporate world in order to follow my dream and my passion. So, yeah.
Awesome. And you've always had the acne treatments in the forefront of your mind, but you have definitely expanded into many other areas other than that. But do you find that, when we talk about acne treatment, most people think of teenagers, right? They think of the younger teens, and that's really where it is. But there's an awful lot with adults, isn't there?
Well, we all tend to kind of go straight to young kids, teen, pre-adolescents with issues with their skin. But now we're seeing it more and more because there's so many different factors to acne and to irritation on the skin. Because it's not always acne, but it could be, rash. It could be an allergy. It could be, environmental. So we're looking at so many variables to why skin is reacting a certain way, and it is a reaction to something. Sometimes, so we're looking at, when we talk about adult acne, we're looking at acne with severe, pustules. Vulgaris is what we talk about, which is one of the most severe types of acne. Rosacea, that's connected to acne, which is redness and acne combined. And then sometimes it's just an overabundance of blackheads, which are indicative of hormonal activity to the skin as well. So with adults, we're looking at many different reasons why we are starting to see it in adults. And it's not isolated anymore with just children or just teenagers. Next to acne for teens, it's acne adults are kind of this, right, almost close to neck and neck, actually, to be honest with you. And a lot of my female and male clients are like, well, I went through puberty. Why am I going through this again? So, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe we can get you to do some of the myth busting for us, too, with acne, because there's a lot of myths out there about, because you don't bathe, or because, you smoke, or because you don't let your skin, I don't know, there's all kinds of
the
way you treat, the way you treat your skin. So, I know, so what are some of the myths that you can give us the truth on?
Well, one of the biggest things, I think people think that those who have acne are not doing, proper hygiene. That is the number one that I hear. It's like, am I not washing the right way, or am I not, using the right? So it's a twofold answer in that aspect, because when someone is overly active with acne, one of the things that, we ask the questions, what are you using for your skincare? And one of the big things is they're washing, but they're washing too much, right? They're washing with highly alkaline products, which strip down the skin. And when they're stripping down the skin, the sebaceous gland, its whole purpose is to kind of keep the skin healthy, lubricated, balanced. So when you're using a product, even as simple as water on your skin, water is an alkaline product, and our skin needs acid-based products in order to be healthy and vibrant. Think of what, we call the acid mantle. That's the oiliness of the skin first thing in the morning. When we wake up, it's that kind of sheen, dewiness that we have when we wake up. That's kind of what we want for the rest of the day without the oily feeling. So when we're stripping down the skin with too much product that is highly alkaline, and almost 80 to 90% of the products on the market that are geared towards acne strip down the skin. So you're not getting acne necessarily because you're not clean enough. You're getting acne because you're stripping down the skin. And that sebaceous gland gets a message that says, hey, I'm dry, I'm dehydrated, because this alcohol-based product is stripping down my skin. So what does it do? So the top layers of cells are then dying off because they're dry, and they're being stripped down, and the sebaceous gland is, oh, they're dry, I better like produce more oil. So it creates almost like a plug, so that's kind of what leads into this cycle of acne. So the more acne you have, the more you use an estrogen, the more acne you have. So it creates a cycle, and our goal is to kind of keep your skin balanced. It's all about the balance, using products that do not strip down the skin, using products that are working with your own skin's pH levels. And that's the goal. So being, overly clean is also a myth, like to wash 3 or 4 times a day can strip down the skin too. The other thing is chocolate makes me break out. That's another myth in itself, and I think, and I think, it doesn't matter how much acne I'd have. Like, I love chocolate. Most of us are chocoholics. Chocolate is there because it's that feel good serotonin. Like the minute like chocolate melts in your mouth, there is a sensation that actually is released in the brain, these phenomenal serotonin levels. But it's not necessarily the chocolate that's causing acne. It's sometimes we're craving chocolate during our menstrual cycle, during stressful times, for example. So, when your menstrual cycle comes, or when you're ovulating just before your menstrual cycle, we tend to crave, feel-good foods, right? And those feel-good foods kind of stimulate certain parts of our hormones. And so it's not the food necessarily that's causing the acne, it's the surrounding hormones that are creating those kind of issues. So that's another thing. So food is not necessarily the culprit, but again, it can be like, let's say you're allergic to or have an intolerance to gluten. That gluten can stimulate acne. Milk products can stimulate acne. Sugar can stimulate acne as well. So it's not a direct, it's chocolate, but it could be maybe the milk chocolate. It could be the sugar in the chocolate. So those are also myths. So not being clean enough is one myth. Food is another myth. The third is if I work too much, I get, like if I work out too much, I break out. And, and it's a myth and it's not. Like if you are overstripping your skin and overwashing it, absolutely you're going to break out because you're overstripping it. It's not necessarily because you're working out. It's because you're sweating, right? So making sure you don't have makeup on when you work out, working out with a clean face and then washing your face one more time and spraying on a pH balancer, not a toner that strips down with alcohol. It's a pH balancer in the skin, So, and another myth, I don't want to miss this one because we are in the summer months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sunscreen causes breakout. That's another myth that I hear. It's too oily for me. I don't need it because I have my natural oils on my face. No, we all need sunscreen. It doesn't matter if you're Fitzpatrick 1, which is a very light-skinned person, to Fitzpatrick 6, which is the darkest, dark skin. So everybody needs sunscreen. That's the big thing. And sunscreens, the right sunscreen will not cause breakouts. Some of them on the market that are oily based can, but it's not so much the sunscreen that causes the breakout. So those are
and you need sunscreen all the time, right? Yep.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter what color, because so many people think that and we'll touch base on sunscreen a little bit later in the show if you'd like. But some people think that the darker my skin is, so whether you're Middle Eastern, East Indian, or African American or African Canadian, we all need sunscreen. We all need sunscreen. Yeah. It doesn't matter how, because we have seen now, and the research is that the melanocytes, which are your tanning cells, are constantly, being disrupted or stimulated by the sun. And so even if you're black skin, Fitzpatrick 6, you can pigment and you can get darker. You can harm the melanocytes. And the melanocytes are your tanning. They protect you from burns, right? These are cells that protect you. They will not forget that you've burnt. So it's, so a lot of people who have pigmenting right now in their 40s, they're like, well, I haven't tanned in a long time. And they're like, it's not what you do now. It's what you did 20 years ago. because melanocytes have a memory, so that's key. And I know we're talking about adult acne, but those are things that with acne, when you have acne and then you go into the sun, another myth is that the sun dries up my face. When I'm going into the, so they'll do sunbeds or they'll do, the tanning beds, or they'll do sun, and that dries up my acne beautifully. That's another myth too. It's the sun actually dries up your skin, but what happens when you have a breakout and you go into the sun, the melanocytes start kicking in and they start creating like pigment changes in the skin. So where you scarred from picking, you will actually have a pigmentation stain on your face. And those are harder to get rid of than acne, to be honest with you. So it is a perpetual cycle that people go on, and the myths are endless. But those are some of the ones that I hear on a regular basis. And we constantly are trying to re-educate. That's, in our clinic, that's the big thing, is re-educating. And we're also learning more. It's big, you have to be big on education and constantly learning in our industry.
Absolutely. And we're actually just up to our first break, if you can believe it. But I do want to come back and continue this conversation, because I want to get some of your insight on how you treat it and your recommendations of what people need to do to cover up now that we're coming into the sun season. So we'll talk about that when we come back after our first break. So you are listening to Financially Speaking with myself, Kathy Cook-Noble, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we're going to continue to talk about beautiful skin and what it costs to have it and what it costs to not have it with our very special guest and expert, Katina Kritikos. We will be right back.
Thank you.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook-Noble. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy at bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Kathy Cook-Noble on the Inspired Choices Network, and today our topic is about beautiful skin and the cost of having it and the cost of not having it. And I have a very special guest with us, Katina Kritikos. She's an expert in the industry and has been for well over 25, almost 30 years probably. And before we went to break, we were just talking about, she was doing some myth busting for us on what acne is and how people get it, or how they can fix it or correct it with all the different rumors and myths out there that we've heard. So, Katina, just before we went to break and we were chatting about that, what with the summer upon us, officially, I guess it's the end of the week, but we've definitely been having some nice weather here in North America, and we know that there's going to be some hotter weather coming. What's other than, I know we were talking about the sunscreen, but what are some recommendations you have for people? Like, I know there's different treatments that they have before, and I know there's certain treatments that you don't do if they're going to be in the sun. So what's your recommendation for really taking advantage of the sun, but really keeping your skin protected too for the season?
Well, I've learned in my years of being in this industry is that we all love the sun, especially here in, north of the border. We only see this beautiful weather maybe for lucky 6 months out of the year. So, and as Canadians, we flock to the South on many occasions, and we come back burnt or sun damaged. I see pictures all the time on Facebook posted, like little red lobsters where people can't, you can get food poisoning. You can really have severe reactions to the sun, especially if for 6 months we don't see it and we don't expose our skin to it. Sun is really beautiful because it really helps us feel better. We need the vitamin D because almost 75% of us in Canada are deficient, severely deficient in vitamin D. So the sun is really an important aspect of our health, well-being, mental health as well, because it really does help with the happy, feel-good hormones in our bodies. So one of the things that I do tell my clients, I'm not one of those estheticians that say, stay out of the sun, stay out of the sun. We do love the sun, and so but do it in moderation. Don't be outside tanning for 3-4 hours. 15, 20 minutes early in the morning, later on in the afternoon. Avoid the sun between the hours of 11 to 2. When I was younger, 20 years ago, we would say between 12 and 2. Now we're saying between 11 and 4. So the sun has become stronger because of the ozone, rays. So I'm not going to say avoid the sun, but be really mindful. Everything is about balance. So if you are going to tan, use a sunscreen, a good one. A lot of department store and drugstore brands tend to not be as strong as they claim on the bottle. So research how much time do I have before I have to reapply sunscreen. And usually sunscreen from here in Canada, I think there's FDA-approved sunscreen in the States, but here in Canada, we have Health Canada, which a lot of medically graded sunscreens here in Canada are DIN numbered, which is the Health Canada's registration. So the number that they say on them, it better be that number when you are using protection. So
that's right.
So one of the big things is make sure your sunscreen is a good one. Make sure it's Health Canada approved. We don't need to have a 70, sunscreen. And actually, in most countries in Europe, they go only up to 45 to 50, no more than that, because you need more chemicals then to get less than 7 minutes more of a protection. So it's better to have a 45, 50 and reapply every 45 minutes to an hour, and a half, depending on if you have medically graded sunscreen, then you're looking at a longer duration on your skin before reapplying. So know what you're buying, know how much time you need before you reapply, and also avoid products that are not physically based sunscreens. So services, as much as I love to do laser on clients, those are things that we do avoid in the summertime. So people who are doing facial lasers, arms or legs, we tend to ask them to stop until September, October, when they're finally out of the sun. Backs, in particular, with our male clients, because those are treatments that you definitely have to avoid. The next one, I think, is, the laser is one day, IPL, photofacials, chemical peels, unless the only time we'll do them is if a client pretty much is very light, pale, and never goes out in the sun. So otherwise we reserve those, more active treatments for the fall and winter. So in the winter we do a lot of repair work, things that people have done, and but you can get a facial, you can get microdermabrasion, you can get enzyme peels, you can get photon LED light, which is a healing light as well. So there are things you can still do to protect your skin in the summertime and to keep your skin nice and healthy. But certainly laser is one of those things that we tend to avoid.
Oh, okay. And now I know we're talking about the summer, but I believe I've heard you talk about sunscreen even in the winter, because people don't realize the harm they can have to their skin. Am I right on that? Yeah.
Absolutely. And don't forget, how we break it down, the sunscreen measures, so SPF are sun protection factors, and it's protection from the UVB ray. Some of them can do, if they're more physical, can do the A ray. So UVB, let's do ABCs, right? A is aging, so UVA. UVB is burning, UVC is cancer. So you need a broad spectrum one, because we now know, and even just actually there's new statistics that came out a few years ago, and not many people know that even just the UV lights that we have in, when we're doing our manicures, shellac manicure, for example, it's really recommended to put a sunscreen on your hands when you do that, because those are UV, right? So we're also, the fluorescent lights, if you're working in an office with a lot of fluorescent lighting, you should be wearing a sunscreen even inside if you have the fluorescent lighting, because it does emit some UV, I think it's UVA. So it's really important that you're protecting your skin in the winter because of the fact that the sun bounces off the snow and intensifies it. And in the summer, because if you are on the beach, you definitely, it's bouncing off of the water. So you definitely need sunscreen in the summer. So it's really a year-round thing. And if we have light, so even if you have a foggy day or a day that's not so bright, you still need your sunscreen. So you need, because UVA lights, UVA rays and UVB rays do come through the clouds as well.
Okay. So let's talk about the upcoming bridal season, because I know this is a busy time for a lot of people in your industry. What do we do with these brides that want to have these tans, and they have they want to have these great glowing tans, which I think it's better to do the spray tan. It's safer. But I wanted to ask you about that. How is that for your skin? Like, what is the best thing for them? Spray tan, tanning beds, real sun? Like, what's your thought?
Well, the real sun and tanning beds are pretty much the same thing. People swear by tanning beds because of the seasonal affective disorder, like the SAD. People get depressed and anxious during the winter months, so they swear by the tanning beds. We now know, and Health Canada has put out warnings. Too much exposure also can cause cancer, skin cancer in particular, with these tanning beds as well. So it's not as bad. I hate saying it's as bad as the sun, because it's not. Everything is in moderation. You do one 20-minute segment a week, it's not going to be that, personally, I don't think it's going to be that bad, but it's for those people who are doing it daily or, every other day. Those are issues that you have to take into consideration. Spray tanning, self-tanners, oh my gosh, there's self-tanners on the market right now that are incredible. And people who do spray tanning, amazing, because it can last up to 4 days, so there are options now that you don't have to be fake, the baking. So we call them the fake and bakes. So it's the skin that glows without the sun's kiss, so those are great. And the options now are so amazing that you don't have the off smell. You have gradual tanning, which looks like, your own tan. It doesn't look orangey. So there's some great products out there, and the industry has evolved. They've been listening, and they do understand we don't want to have that off smell, that, that sun tanning product that kind of, we all know what that smell is, and it smells not so great as a self tanner. But now the industry's changed, it's evolved, just like everything in our industry is evolving. They listen, and so self tanners, I think, are the best way. It won't get on your wedding dress, especially if you do it at 2 or 3 days, in advance. It lasts, you'll need a really good exfoliation for the body before you do a self tanning. That way it looks more natural. It doesn't look chalky. But yeah, those are incredible options now. You don't have to be baking in the sun. It feels good, but you don't have to be baking in the sun in order to get that sun-kissed glow. Oh, hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Hey.
Hello.
Sorry.
Hi.
Got all excited. I don't know what happened there.
I know.
So with coming into the season that we've got with the brides, what would you recommend as a ritual, if you will, or what should be their routine before the wedding, and how soon should they start to get the maximum effect for their skin? Because I know they spend a lot of money, and a lot of people try and throw money at things at the very end, but the reality is you need a certain amount of time to do certain things, don't you? So what would you recommend as the process?
Well, I have to correct you because it's no longer just a bride thing. When it comes to weddings, the men are getting involved as well. The father, the mothers of the brides, the mothers of the grooms. It really is, because these pictures are forever, we hope, and
Right.
they're, they are. With some people, it's nice to get this rejuvenation in their skin, but men are coming in for waxing, so they're prepping their backs. I call it the retro man, because he's doing his eyebrows. He'll do his nose hairs, his ears. He'll do microdermabrasion to help brighten up his skin, because he can't hide his skin with makeup, whereas women can easily do that. Women tend to get body glows. That's one of the number one things that we do see prior to the wedding. But from everyone who has skincare concerns, you need a good 2 to 3 months before, with monthly visits. Sometimes if we're doing Mother of the Brides, we're doing firming and tightening with our new Venus Freeze Plus. And that is an amazing treatment. It's 8 weeks though. So a lot of women start 8 weeks, prior, even 3 months prior, because we see the most benefit at 3 months. So we really tend to we have a schedule with our brides. So we ask what their concerns are, what they would like to, shift, change, enhance. And then we move from there, and we kind of give them timetables. So it'll depend on from person to person. And some people have beautiful skin, and all they need is a facial a couple of weeks before, with a little bit of microdermabrasion just to kind of get their skin revitalized. And that way the makeup stays on, for longer, and it looks fresher. The skin looks rosy, and it's got a glowy, dewy complexion. So really, we can start them up to 3 months before. Most of our clients really are lifelong ones, and they've been on the ritual for most of their, adult lives with us. So, but if you're not, if you are a bride that's, has skin concerns, sun damage, rosacea, which is red marks on the face, or acne, those are about 3 months ahead. That's when we look at, so 3 months ahead, you start your treatments depending on what is going on with your skin. And then sometimes we see you every 2 weeks, depending on what services we're providing for you. Sometimes we'll need, weekly visits every week, monthly. So we try to get them to monthly eventually within those, one more right before their wedding. Facials with micro are crucial. We also have this amazing lifting treatment too, right before their wedding. And there's no downtime whatsoever, and they look literally 10 years younger overnight. It's amazing, an amazing treatment. So our goal is to not change you, but really enhance what you already have. Keep your skin healthy, keep it revitalized, keep it glowing, dewy. Healthy skin is really for life. It really is. It's not about changing your skin as more as it is about giving your skin what it needs to give you optimum health and vitality.
Beautiful. And with that, Katina, we are up to our second break for the night.
Oh, my goodness. It's gone by fast.
I know. I told you there's so much. Was I lying? There's so much in Katina's head that we just have to get out. So we're going to take our second break. I know. When we come back, we're going to get into talking to her a little bit more about what she recommends for us going forward, and different types of men and women, and I'm glad you said that. So we're going to talk about different types of services for different men and women that you perform. So you are listening to Financially Speaking with myself, Kathy Cook Noble, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we're going to continue to pick Katina's brain, because there's just so much in there that we need to learn. So we will be right back.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Financially Speaking Radio Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy at bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Kathy Cook Noble on Financially Speaking, and you are listening to the Inspired Choices Network. Today, our topic is the cost of having and not having beautiful skin, taking care of the skin that you were given. Before we went to break, we were talking to Katina Kritikos, and she was sharing some of her industry expertise and secrets on what we need to always really be focused on in terms of looking after our skin when it comes to the sun, and when it comes to getting ready for the big day when you're getting married, or any other big day really, like a graduation, or any event, like, if you're in an award ceremony, a big job event. So skincare isn't just about the wedding, but we do have the wedding season coming up, so that made me think of that. But before we went to break, Katina mentioned about not just women, and I know that's a myth too, that skincare is just for women, and a lot of men are really looking after their skin, and these are all kinds of men, aren't they, Katina? They're like the guys that go to the gym, the guys that don't go to the gym, they're the guys that wear suits, the guys that, wear construction boots. Like, there are all kinds of people that look after their skin now, isn't there?
Well, it's funny. Last year I did my statistics and my stats at the end of the year, and 3 out of my top 5 clients happened to be men. 2 out of those 5 were over the age of 60. So one of the crucial things is that men suffer from skincare conditions, and they're told to just, can I use the word suck it up? They're told to ignore it. They're told to not worry about it. So what last year I had a conversation with one of our amazing clients, and one of the things he did say was, listen, my children, my house is paid off. I'm retired now. I have a good income, a good life. This has plagued me my whole life, but I was paying mortgage. I was paying, putting money away for my, for our savings, for my children's education, and there was really never enough for me. And now there's enough for me. So, this gentleman happened to start taking care of his skin, and in turn, he was also taking care of how he was feeling about it. So his confidence changed within a year's time. We saw the evolution, and we saw how happy he started feeling about his skin, and how the changes that he had seen. And so it's not just about an issue for women. Men have skin, and it's really important that as an esthetician and as estheticians out there, that we don't cut ourselves off to 50% of the population. So women, yes, we're seeing, more and more women, over the age of 45 are definitely taking care of themselves more. Women who are going through divorces, we're seeing, or separations, we're seeing more and more, because they're going back out into the field of job searches, and out there with, they're out there again, like dating, and they want to feel and look their best. So there's that segment of the population. Then we have the brides, of course, and the grooms, and we also have the teenage segment as well. So we really, skincare is for everyone. And I think as an industry, we tend to always target the women over 40, but really it is meant for everyone who needs our services. And as skincare providers, we have to actually be open to accept males into our industry and into our clinics. And I know a lot of men hear that, oh, you're the first one that accepted us for whether it's for waxing or laser or what have you, because he'll call a few places and they just simply don't take male clients. So it's a growing industry, and it's an important one, because skincare is no longer a pampering it's really part of a necessity. People need an edge, and sometimes having great skin is that edge. And it sounds light-hearted, but the changes people experience through taking care of their skin is incredible, and we are honored to be part of that. Witnessing the transformation is incredible to see someone coming in with such low self-esteem. And, I think I mentioned it last time about last segment that we had done a couple weeks ago, but there are stats that say the healthier your skin looks, the more put together you look, the higher your wages as well. So, those are things that we talk about, the financial pieces, and it's important on a self-esteem level that good skincare is for life,
Absolutely. And the reality is if they start sooner, and it's funny when you said about majority of the industry, they target the women over 40, but really you want to be starting it right away. Like you want to always be taking care of your skin so that when you are over 40, you don't have all the sins and errors to correct from the first 40 years. So there's really isn't it forget to really focus on skincare when you're younger and have them understand that.
And I know it's absolutely important. And I went, off of the question you had asked, and I find it's really important that the audience and the listeners out there, it doesn't matter what service you're receiving, and we can touch base on, what we do for the brides and the, and the grooms, but it's really important to know that it is accessible for everyone, and we've had, young children with active sebaceous glands that we're doing, purifying treatments just to get that gland at 4 or 5 years old. And then our oldest client is in her 90s, so it's important, and it's important, and we can't make assumptions with skincare, and what's important for other people, it's, it may not be important for someone else, but we can't take it for granted either.
Absolutely. Katina, before we run out of time, because I know we have about 12 minutes left, I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you, how to talk to you, contact you if they need to. What's the best way for them to reach out and get a hold of you if they have more questions?
Okay, absolutely. You can definitely, you can reach us at info@etherion.ca. And we'll definitely respond within several hours during business hours, and within the one business day if it's over the weekend. So you can, attention Katina, you can ask questions if you like, and I love getting pictures of people's skin and really going over what their concerns are as well. That kind of work does fascinate me, and also sharing what products you're using too. So info@etherion.ca. Our phone number is 519-601-8881. You can always call us, and we're available 5 days. Actually, no, 6 days a week now. So we're totally accessible and really there for you and to take care of your skincare needs.
Excellent. Now, the other thing is that people can know is they can contact you, and you can actually do a Skype or a Zoom or any of the other cool technologies that we have. You can do one of those consultations with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The first point of contact will always be either a phone call or email, and then we would set up an appointment that we can sit down, and I can definitely give you a complimentary assessment and to see what's going on with your skin, and whatever concerns you have. It's really important that we address them. And even as minor or as frivolous in some people's eyes, it's not to you. It's an important aspect for us, and it's knowing that this is a good that what concerns you is important to us.
Absolutely, and so true too. The skincare. What do you see as the next? I don't want to say trend or fad, but where do you see the industry really growing and focusing on in the next year or two, or even 5 years, maybe that far out? But where do you see the industry really moving in? What direction?
Well, I think it's becoming mainstream. And when I first started, there was only a few of us doing what we were doing. And now the whole concept of Medi-spas has kind of gone, hit through the roof. And we're all doing more and more evasive treatments. I think, what I hope is that there's more legislation in Canada. I know in the States there's so much more that you have to have specific certification in order to use devices. Canada, we're not that regulated as of yet, and that's really important that we do get regulated, because someone just should not be able to purchase a machine and start working out of their house, like a special medical device like a laser, and start working out of their home to do it. And at this point, you can. That's unfortunate part of our industry. We're not regulated like hairstylists, and we should be regulated, so that way we know that people coming out of the school have the 2 years, the full year of training, and then subsequent training for advanced aesthetics as well. The industry is growing leaps and bounds. It is an industry that I've been involved in for almost 30 years of my life. And, I think forming relationships, having, building our clientele through relationships with them to see, hey, this is what your skin was like day one. This is what your skin is like now at, 30 days and at 60. So forming those attachments, those relationships is crucial. And more heart-centered business, I think, is important. So, I can tell you the trends that are coming up, but really the key thing is creating relationships with our clients and really caring and and allowing their issues, even if it seems so small, really making sure that they're heard. And clients should be looking out for that people are listening to them. They're really targeting what the client's needs are. So the technology, yes, it's ever changing. There's things that technology can do now that even 5 years ago we couldn't do. So we're looking at more non-invasive treatments, like for lifting and firming. So I read an article just a couple of weeks ago, it's coming from Beverly Hills, and we all know it's the capital for plastic surgery. They're seeing that these devices, medical devices, are becoming 70 to 80% of their business versus cutting people versus surgery.
Oh, wow.
So the non-invasive treatments are starting to take over with very little downtime. Like, for example, our Venus Freeze Plus, people come in during lunch hour, and then they go straight, we put sunscreen on after they finish their treatment, they go straight back to work. And they're quick treatments, and they do see the results, but there's no or very little downtime, with amazing results as the months come along. So we're seeing that. That is the biggest trend, is people doing something to their skin and not one person knowing that that's what they're doing. So that to me is amazing, that, in a month to 2 months time, they can have these incredible treatments and no one knows that they've done them. So those are huge. So that's what we're looking at.
And the cost between doing the treatments versus going to see a plastic surgeon, the difference between the cost of that is huge, is it not? Like, I can't imagine that it's cheaper to go to a surgeon.
Just imagine, absolutely, and imagine the downtime. So, but the number one thing is preventative. Why people are starting at 24, 25 years old getting, skincare facials. I have clients that started when they were in university with me, and they're now I'm taking care of their children. So I've seen them through, marriages, through divorces, through, their childbearing years, and now we're all kind of growing into menopausal years now too. So my clients are, we're going through this, amazing stages in life, and it's, if we're looking at the cost of a facelift versus the cost of preventive, it's completely, it doesn't even match, because the non-invasive treatments are so much more, they're less expensive. They do a phenomenal job in firming, tightening, or acne treatments. We're seeing such amazing things without the medications for acne. And no downtime, very, very little downtime.
Nice.
Like the most downtime we have is maybe 2 days, and that's with one of our not nanofractional Viva lasers. Sorry, not laser, but it's a medical device with microneedling. And there's about 2 days of downtime for that. But, if you needed to go to work, you put a little bit of makeup on, you'll be a little red. But very little downtime now, and you're getting the results are incredible. So those are the trends. Non-invasive treatments.
Nice. I like that. And the cost is more than just how much it costs at the surgeon's office or how much it costs at the salon. You're absolutely right about the downtime. What does it cost to lose time at work, and how much how much for your wages? And it's an awful lot that people don't factor in when they talk about cost. They don't factor their time. So it's nice that there's alternatives that are so much safer and more beneficial and non-invasive, and definitely there's so many beautiful things out there that you're able to do to really help people feel good and look good, because the looking good really helps you feel good, doesn't it? It's not just about looking good to be beautiful, but it's actually for your soul and your confidence too, isn't it?
Right. I mean, what does it cost in the end? Lack of confidence. What does it cost a human being? That means that they either stay in the same job without a pay raise because they're not confident enough, or that they don't feel that they deserve. So people with skin care conditions, there are studies after studies that their confidence boost is below the charts. They do not see themselves as attractive, so they don't feel that they deserve a better raise, or and they're less likely to be hired, unfortunately, as well. So the trend is that healthy skin also hires. People get a better offer, better positions, and what is the cost of having confidence? So that's the thing. And as parents who have kids who are struggling through this, it's not something that kids grow out of, because I have clients who struggled with acne, and when it's time when I see them, their self-esteem, they still see acne. I know it took me almost, I think I was 40 when I stopped doing acne treatments, because I had one of my mentors say, Katina, you don't have to do acne treatments anymore. Start focusing on anti-aging, because in my head, I still see acne and I still worry about that pimple because I went through that struggle. You don't want your skin ever to go to that place again. And it hasn't, thank goodness. But, most of us still see ourselves like, what we look like when we were in our teens, So if we have some kind of hand to help people feel better and look better, and I think I've said it over and over, I'm not looking to change you. I'm looking to, to see the best light for you, So that's, that's our role. That's our role. So that confidence builder is huge. Absolutely huge. You can't put a price on that.
Awesome. And I know with you, it's really more about bringing out the absolute best in people so that you really help them be their better selves. And you do that through, there's so many ways you do it, but today we just got to talk to you about the skincare industry and helping people be beautiful for their big events, but really in general for their life, so that they can be successful in all that they're doing. And that's just awesome. I'm so excited that you're doing that for so many people. And what's next for you, Katina, in the next, we have about 30 seconds left. What's next for you, and what's next for Aetherion and the you and all your staff and your expansion?
Well, we just hired another staff member. I'm so proud and love the 3 women that I have right now, and they're very passionate and loving, and our clients absolutely love them. And they're really wanting to strive for more in our industry. So I've just hired another like-minded individual, Elsa, Elle actually for short, and she's really amazing, and she's going to be growing in our industry. And what we're hoping to do is duplicate what we're doing and start expanding outward, and really,
only got 2 seconds left.
we're seeing some of the clients coming from all over. So we wanted to expand out there. So thanks, Kathy.
Awesome. Thank you, Katina, for joining us once again, and we'll be right back here next week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Financially Speaking Radio Show. Kathy Cook Noble will return next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.